Screamer, ladies and gents. I have finally given it a go. But first things first, just turn up. Just listen. Take it in, feel. I can't go for that long without talking, I'm sorry. Hello. All right, Screamer, I've played it. This is the first time I've experienced it, and I'm now going to give you my preview as to what I think of the game. First things first, $60, £60 is what it shows on the PlayStation Store. 26th of March is when they plan to release. It's got a multiplayer with 16 players. It's got a single-player campaign, and also just single player. And I have a lot to say. So, as of course, please buckle in, and please be ready for a, I think, very balanced opinion on this game. Now, what I'm going to start with is saying where I kind of intended to go first with this game and what I was most excited for initially. And the first thing was that there's going to be a story campaign to play through. And what I ended up coming out with is that my actual favorite element of the game is not that. It's not the story campaign. It's not the customization, because there's a bit of customization in the game as well. It's actually the gameplay. And I don't know the last time I ever said, yeah, the gameplay of a game is my favorite element of the game. And that's kind of sad to think about, isn't it? So, first things first, let's talk about the systems in play when you play Screamer. Because at first, it might look like a pretty simple title. It looks like a racing game that's closed track, and you do races. It's got anime and crazy cars, and that's it, right? There's not much depth to how the game plays. And that's where you would be very wrong. So, this is something I found out a little late, actually. You have got a lot to think about. And I noticed this, and this is why this is pre-recorded footage, not by me. This is by the developers. Because what I've noticed whenever I saw other people playing the game, and I can kind of understand why they decided to do it themselves this time, I actually had a lot of stuff I really would like to show you guys and my progression in terms of how I did better over time in this game. But the game is hard. And that is something I definitely need to lay down. In the first hour, 2, 3 probably, you are gonna struggle. And if you're not up for struggling, this might be a bit of a scary title for you. But the reward to learning the game is finally here. This is pretty rare in racing games. Most racing games tend to just kind of throw you in, and they give you a super simple, basic handling model that anyone can pick up and play, and it's super easy, it's super nice, and generally I understand why that's the case. But the depth of this game is in its gameplay. Okay, let me talk about it. Here I have a controller. Normally in a racing game, you accelerate, you brake, and you steer. That is the normal inputs of a racing game. You've got handbrake, something like that. This game is the same. However, you also have the right stick. Yeah, you kind of control the back end, almost drift, with the right stick. It sounds bizarre at first, if you haven't played anything like that before. The only other experience I've got with this is kind of more like indie games, top-down games, 2D games, 2.5D games. Nonetheless, this game handles it really well, actually. You can almost balance the car in a way to do 2 things at once because of it. And I know that sounds absolutely mental, but that's something you've got to think about the whole time. But that's not all. You've probably noticed, just kind of below me, this bar kind of flashes yellow sometimes. And that is because you can also manually shift. There is a name they have for it, but I'm just going to call it shifting manually. So as you actually get to the top of the rev range, once you lowered your gears, and you shift with this, you build up the bar at the top. The boost bar is slowly building as you play. As you can see, you can boost with that bar. You can shift, and then it builds up the bar. Now, the longer you wait and don't actually use your boost, as I believe how this works, the other side starts to build up. You've got your shield, and you've got your strike. And this is the main kind of element going on as you're actually racing. So, the strike is how you can just attack people. And if you build them all up over time, you get this overdrive option. Uses the full bar at the top, and it's kind of like the Mario Star when you get the that fella, and you can just blast through people, building up. However, there is a counter to that. If you are at the end of this and you smash into a wall, your car will blow up and you'll get sent back a few places. Basically, all of this is going on at the same time you're racing many other people that are also doing all these things. There's a hell of a lot going on. And as I said, your first hour with the game is going to be a little bit tougher. When you get the flow of it and the music of it and the feel of it all kind of coming together, it feels euphoric. I don't know how to say it. It feels like nothing that I've played in the racing genre before. And I love it so much. You see, the simplicity of Mario Kart kind of is something that I struggle with. I feel like there could be more there. And it almost feels like these guys knew that. And the arcade racing genre in general. Everything's too simplified. Let's build gameplay on top of unique elements. I mean, in a world that you can do this, right? So, something else to point out. This is some more gameplay now. And this is actually a different mode, if it were. So, as you jump between the characters, because there are characters in this game and they are like staple characters, they're not like character customization characters. They are staple people in the world. As you jump between the different cars and characters, you actually get different music that plays based on those characters. And it really, some of the music puts you in the feel, the vibe of that character. And something we really ignore, for sure, is the impact that music has, whether it's some music genre that you enjoy or not. For example, I like rap type of stuff, hip hop, and this is not that, but there's no denying that this feels awesome for this genre of game. You get into the feel in a way that doesn't tend to happen in most other games. I think Need for Speed is one of the other games that really puts you in, the music is timed right, everything is set up right, so it feels right. But this takes, I think, maybe to another level. Okay, quickly, there are a few modes to play. You've seen so far just the normal race. This in particular is the trio mode, which means there's a team of 3 and you can kind of pick whoever you want. By playing offline, like single player, I actually got to unlock more characters. I actually got to like mix and match the characters if I wish to do so. So I don't have to keep the certain team. But anyway, I didn't really find a super major benefit in actually using specific teammates because you don't have unique elements to your, there's not unique power-ups or anything. So what you end up doing is just picking like yours and then everyone else because you don't really care about them. But either way, it was a struggle for me to realize who was my teammate. I just didn't really care. I just kind of went for it. But I found that what you've got in the normal races is solos, duos, trios. And I would say the duos are probably the best balance. The solos are really like rough, as in like I struggled the most there. And then I'm talking about medium difficulty, about an hour and a half in. And then trios I found once again to be just kind of brutal because they know who's on their team and they're just going to attack everyone. I feel like it was like organized. So organized attack constantly. And I also ended up running into people that were on my team because I couldn't really tell. That's something that I need to just, spend a bit more time on the game figuring out. Okay, let's move on to the campaign. So there is a story, campaign, an anime throughout the game that's supposed to actually teach you to play the game early on, which I would highly recommend you do. That's the first thing I did. And even then, I would say the difficulty curve, may be a little far. I mean, the reality is the difference between when you're playing at home and when I was playing the preview at a limited time. But the campaign, I feel like they could have, even if it was slower to introduce features. But me telling you this and, not going in blind, you'll know to think about these things. So these are our like main characters I found. However, it seems that you can you're going to be jumping around different teams. You're playing out an anime, you're not particularly one set of characters, but this is kind of the people that I had the most time with early on. There's a lot of fecking from this Irish, and it actually just says fucking instead. However, there's a little overarching story. The intent is to, end someone. Very anime, very cool. And I'm actually genuinely looking forward to playing through this game. Now, to keep a balance here, I will say definitely an early attempt of them creating like a bit of a campaign. So I enjoy it and I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. I think the main obvious point to me was that some things were said that were just completely necessary, and that's just kind of video games in general, right? So you get these kind of in-between screens where you get the conversation and then you can skip through it, but you also, you know, you want to listen to what's going on in the campaign, but you can just kind of quickly speed it up if you would like to. They are all read out. They're all in different languages depending on who's speaking. For example, Frederick, I'm guessing, because French. he was speaking a completely different language. They can all understand each other. They've got some like implants in the brain that's explained. But it does feel like sometimes I kind of want to get through it and get to the action. And it is quite funny going from this and then like abruptly into a race sometimes. It's a little jarring. So here you go. We're having a little bit of conversation.
What these things can do.
Top.
And we're in. But they do give you a quick little preview, a little tutorial on how to control certain features of this unique game. And as I say, it does give you the tutorial, and it's kind of recommended. I would highly suggest you actually check this out. You will not be driving like this unless you've played before, to be clear. You will be rubbing the wall, but I am more of an aggressive driver, less so cautious, at least in games. It's a video game, all right? I'm here to win. All right. Anyway, the idea is that you are here for like a screamer event to ulterior motives. You know, don't want to spoil too much of it, but we played about 30 minutes of the campaign, and honestly, I like it. It's a nice addition. It gives us a reason to kind of keep playing through the campaign. It gives a campaign, and this is the wild part to me. So again, I tend to need a campaign to play through a game and unlock stuff and have a reason to play through. I mean, that's obvious that everyone is kind of like that now. For example, Battlefield, when the new update is coming out, it's on my brain. People are looking forward to having more stuff and then finding out that there's less stuff, and people are like, well, what's the reason to play? People find unlocking stuff a reason to play, right? I'm not the only one. I think the majority now. So you get a bit of a combination of like animated scenes and then the general conversation bits that you just saw a minute ago. I think these bits are probably my favorite. Like, they're better than, they're more to the point. But sometimes you'll go from one of these to a cutscene back to one of these, and you're just kind of like, again, to be clear, I wasn't skipping at this point, and I'm interested in the story, but I'm very glad it's there. So this is like the second-ish race. You're kind of getting into the league as such. You basically just got to finish. Again, it gives you a little bit of time to get used to the handling and stuff, and then it starts to slowly introduce the features of the game to you. And then you get introduced to other characters, again, with different music and different unique cars. And the cars, mate, they're so sick. They're really cool. They're kind of what you would expect to see in like a future style. I love it. It's awesome. There's some like massive rocket boosters on the back of some of these cars. There are some customizations. I was in the mindset that it was actually being filmed, but it wasn't. We're getting, you know, access to some stock footage here, which again, I think is understandable. But in some of my footage, I went through some of the customization. It kind of works a bit differently. You can mix and match parts, but there's like sets of vehicles, and you can unlock the random parts by winning just normal races. So as you win these random races outside of the campaign, you just unlock these bits and you can use them in races and customize them, and you can change characters and pick characters and unlock new tracks. And I had a tremendous amount of fun just kind of playing the solo events. This is kind of rare for me because, as I mentioned, I usually need a bit of a campaign to pull me through. I enjoy the narrative. I prefer it. But I surprised myself in actually wanting to just play the races with no particular character, with no particular race, just playing and unlocking stuff without like an overarching story. Again, I'm glad it's there. So then you get to learn about the active shifts, as I mentioned previously. It does feel a little bit like I wish the campaign storyline introduced those actively in the story. That would have been nice, but I feel like there's an overarching like somewhat explanation, but it doesn't directly mention, oh, by the way, you should do this to do this. You're mostly told by these kind of pop-ups. Anyway, I'm not trying to sound like it's a negative. I enjoyed this so much more than I kind of expected to. And I thought I was going to enjoy it. It is an incredibly unique game. It focuses in on the gameplay opposed to anything else. It has got a campaign, story, customization, again, lighter side customization, I would say. But when your cards look like this, and they're kind of based around characters, I don't think I care that much. It's very narrative driven. It's an anime racing game. And the best thing is, like, the people out there that were saying, oh, Need for Speed, I wish they doubled down on the art style and the theme and the anime stuff. This kind of feels like how this game is kind of positioned. I think they have done an incredible job at just getting this better than Need for Speed ever could have, because it's a kind of fresh perspective game. Anyway, there's actually those cutscenes there which happen mid-race sometime. That's really cool. That's quite a unique element. I like that too. Yeah, so I think my initial preview of Screamer, pretty damn positive. Incredibly happy with it. The one thing I was thinking about overall about this is, of course, the price point is not as high as some of the games these days, but it's on a higher price point. I think that's fine. I personally think that I'm going to enjoy this a hell of a lot. But I do think about the fact that I can read some people's responses that £60, 60 US, it's kind of expensive, okay, to be fair. And yeah, I agree with that. But in the stance of, like, I could get into a whole the conversation here. There you go. There's your example of the afterburn kind of taking you out. When I've paid more for games and enjoyed them a hell of a lot less than previous, I kind of sit to the point where, yeah, this is a no question for me that I would purchase this. And of course, if you are somewhat interested in it and you're kind of on the fence, well, you're in the right place. I will be covering more of this game as it comes out and giving you my, like, gameplay preview breakdown. If I can get access to the game early, that would be great because I definitely want to show you guys some more intricate elements. For example, there's more game modes than just racing. There's actually real good uses of some unique elements in this game that, again, they've got this uniqueness that they should probably build upon. But with games like this coming out, Tokyo Extreme Racer coming out, and the more simple Forza Horizon coming out, I think we're in for a pretty good year for racing games. And this might be one of the best.